She's got three lovely kids. Lovely children.
Good, good. Nice to see a lot of faces, new faces here.
Yeah.
It's a packed audience today.
Hi, Jainita.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Ashita. Oh my, how nice to see Ashita.
Hi, hi. Hi.
Teacher
Hi,
and
Ashita.
enthusiast.
There. Very nice.
Hi, Susan.
Hello. Hi, Auntie. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Susan?
Good, good. Nice to see you here.
Yeah, nice to see you too. It started 9:30.
Yeah, 9:30.
Hello.
Hi, Surbhi. Hi, Ritika.
Hello, Alka Chechi. Hello, everybody else. I was having some trouble with the mic. I think it's working now. I wasn't able to hear the first
Sorry,
part
one second.
of the conversation.
Everyone just saying
Hello,
hello
I
to each
have
other.
joined with Ashwita.
Oh, very nice.
Hi.
I
Hi,
have
hi.
joined
Nice
with
meeting
Hi,
you.
hi. Hi, Srimanti.
Hello, hello.
Hi. Oh, this is my
Hi, good morning, Aditi.
good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Hello, hi everyone. Good morning.
Oh, nice. Good. I'm so happy to see so many people. This is
Yeah,
really
Aditi,
nice.
these are my friends, Neelam, Rachel.
Hi, Neelam. Hi, Rachel.
I took your advice of having a brunch and my friends over, so that's exactly what I've done.
Superb. Very nice. I had been invited to do a workshop for a group of ladies, like that. Oh, it was online. So they were sitting, I think they were all sitting in Singapore, five, six of them, celebrating somebody's birthday. So one of them was from Pune. She said, we really want to do this, but can you do it with us? We will be drinking wine. So I don't know by the end of class what is happening. So yeah, that was super fun. And they had, I mean, of course, when friends get together, it's another kind of fun altogether. So yeah, they managed to make a lot of stuff, but it was a nice theme to have for brunch. And then there's so much chat that comes from all of that also. Superb. Okay, so I think we can begin. I will be recording this session also, so for whoever, I will be sharing this on our regular group. So if you feel you want to share it with your friends, that's also perfectly fine. Otherwise, you can just share the link to the Doodle Factory page on YouTube and they can access all the videos that are freely available there as well. Okay, so I think we can begin. I have a feeling that in the next 5 minutes or so, more people will join. But to give you an idea of what we're going to do today, I'm going to do one very small exercise in lettering. Because we have been doing lettering this entire month. So I wanted to keep something simple that everyone could just learn quickly and start using it for whatever project that you might think of. And that way, then at least I can demonstrate the kind of art we do. And hopefully, I can open the session up for people to ask questions after about maybe an hour. So if you are curious about joining a class or knowing something more about how you can do or expand your art process, then we can have a discussion about that. And even in the middle, if you have any questions, you can use the chat. Because we are so many, Susan is going to help me moderate the chat. So I will then ask her to just point out some questions in the chat that I can respond to after our session has finished, at least the art instruction part. So while everyone is painting, then I can answer those questions for you. All right, so hopefully that is clear. And of course, if you feel the need to stop me or ask me to slow down, please do that. Because as the regular members know, if nobody is protesting, I generally just carry on. I kind of keep in mind what amount of time you might need to do a little bit of drawing or painting or whatever. But other than that, the class moves at a regular pace. But don't feel shy to ask me to stop. Don't pressure yourself. Don't get stressed. This is not supposed to be stress inducing at all. Everyone else will wait. Everyone understands if you want me to slow down or explain something. We need to have fun. We need to relax and enjoy the morning. So let me go over the materials that you'll need. And if you don't have these materials, you can work with a lot of substitutes. So we are going to do something called drop caps, which is going to involve just drawing a capital letter and then illustrating stuff around it. So we'll just need a regular pencil. We use an A4 size drawing pad. So everyone from class is going to be using this. And then we'll be using watercolor and a few brushes. So just like a medium brush and a large brush and maybe a detailed brush, that should be fine. So a number 10, 2, 4, 1, any of that is good. If you don't happen to have watercolors and pencils, watercolors and brushes, you can use color pencils, you can use markers, or you can just shade and pencil also. That's perfectly fine. Even a black and white illustration is cool. If you have micron pens, you can use that. So we can make it like a pen and ink. For that matter, if you have ink and you want to use ink and a dip pen, even that is fine. One instruction, however, and this might be a little scary, is try not to use the eraser too much, because the eraser is only there to, confirm your self-doubt, and you don't want that. So if you draw a line and you're unhappy with it, then I'm going to suggest wait till you draw the next line and the next line, and then see whether you really need to erase a particular line. You might just be able to absorb it in the design. It may not be a very important thing. It's like there was one time when I left a little water bottle at a place and I had to catch a bus. And I was so attached to that water bottle, I went back to get the bottle and I missed my bus. And it was just so stupid. I just felt, why? It was a water bottle and I could have asked a friend to bring it later. But it just didn't happen. So I want you to just keep that in mind before you start erasing. Okay, so I think we can begin. Are there any questions about materials? No? Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm going to change my camera to the book. That way then you can see what I'm doing. All right, so the process is going to be fairly simple. I'm going to break up all the elements that we will need for this drop cap illustration. So I usually divide the page into about 1/3 and 2/3, and in the 1/3 we will make a rough illustration of everything that we are going to do, test out colors, composition and things like that. And once we have tested that out, then we can make it in the fair version with a lot more confidence. So that's why even in the rough work, you don't really need to erase anything. When you're drawing, just try to draw lightly, because you are the only person who needs to see this line. Often we draw lines so dark that a person 10 paces away can also see it. And that is where the problem lies often. So we will start off with writing a letter, and you can choose the letter that you want. It could be your name. So my name starts with an A, and I just want to show you the process. It's very simple. I'll make a few alphabets in the back of the book, of this page also, so you can follow me there. So this process of making letters just involves drawing a large enough shape of your letter, and then we are going to draw parallel lines around that shape so that we create almost like a skin around the letter form. Wherever we have narrow apexes like this, we will flatten that shape so that we get a block letter like this. Okay, so I'll just make a few letters, maybe just go alphabetically. So anyone whose name starts with a B, make a large B. And at this point, I'm going to just shift to a pen so you can see a little better. Just create a shape around the existing shape. Try to make it as parallel to the existing line as you can from both sides of the line. Okay, who else is there? We have an S. So for the S, imagine the S to be a little rounder than usual, and you will be drawing, I guess, two S's around this S itself. One will have a bigger curve on the top, and its corollary will have a smaller curve on the top. That's how you will get this shape. Then for the letters K and R, I would recommend that instead of making the leg of the letter from the center right here where then three lines will intersect, just move your the leg of the letter form a little away from the intersection, and then you can make the same outline. So these are a few modifications that help make your letters look slightly cleaner, crisper, and avoid conflict of lines. Otherwise, often it happens that the lines look so cluttered that the design doesn't look appealing anymore. So when you're drawing, one tip is to keep moving the book so that you can draw the line in the orientation that you're most comfortable with. Sometimes when you try to draw a curve, you might be able to draw the right side curve better, but not the left side. So turn your book around so that your hand can easily make any kind of curve. Okay. Any other letters, anyone?
Yes, please, an N.
M for Mumbai?
N for Neelam.
Okay. So yeah, for the N as well, we have two narrow apexes, or actually any apex we would have to do this. Just make a parallel line to the vertical and the diagonal lines and extend the lines a little beyond. And while instinctively you might feel that these two lines should come up to the top, they will create a very narrow top and distract from the main design. So you just flatten this here so that the top on the left will match on the right, and likewise flatten at the bottom. The same thing applies for any other letter which has this form. So we will have M, a Z, W, V, all of them will have the same principle. Now, since this is decorative lettering, if you feel the need to make the letters more dramatic and you'll end up making an N that looks like this, that's perfectly your choice. You can do this, and if you feel like it, you can extend the vertical lines to match the corners. That is perfectly okay too. So in creative lettering, you just use the rules more or less like a guideline, but you are free to have fun with it as well. Okay.
Ma'am, what about a G?
Yes, so a G would be like this. You make it like a part of a circle and then extend one line up. So keep the G simple. You don't extend this outward. You just keep the crossbar on the inside. That makes life a little simpler. And you will be able to tell that this is a G, no other letter. And then you just do the same process. Go all around. So with lettering aesthetics, it helps if there is some alignment, like the edge of the G and on the top and the bottom, if they are in one line, that looks good. However, you don't need to stick to that principle for the K or the R, but it helps to have some thought given to any of those. All right. So, because we are making so many different letters, we won't stick with just one graphic. We won't be able to stick with one graphic that is representative of that letter. So, I'm going to show you how to paint flowers instead. The flowers that I love to paint are pansies, and there are so many colors of pansies, and they're a very forgiving flower. So even if you don't get the shape absolutely accurate, you can still make the pansies look very attractive. So here's the structure of the pansy. I want you to just observe this first so that you don't miss any information, and I'm going to draw it one more time with you. By then you will know what I'm drawing things for. So let's start off with a circle. And we are going to paint the pansy in such a way that its parts can fit within this circle. So here we have the center of the circle more or less. And from the center we will draw a line going to 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock. So when you have a circle, it's easier to draw lines at an angle because we have the reference of a clock face. So this is about 4 o'clock, this is 8 o'clock. And then we have two lines going up halfway towards 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. This is the basic structure of the internal petals. These petals can then, you can make a line like this, not exactly from the circle but from a little far away. Turn them outward, making them round towards the bottom, and you can frill them around like this, just a little curve. And for the petals on top, you will turn them outward and just put a wobbly line around the circle guideline, and this will become your internal shape. Then from the intersection points where the circle part comes out of the petals on top, we can make one petal go from the left side around the circle and come and attach to the side of the right side petal, and then another petal that begins from here, but we will show it emerge from an exit point on this side and then come and merge to the left petal in this fashion. Okay, is the structure simple enough? Shall we draw it together? All right, okay, so let's make that circle again. This time I'm making a slightly smaller circle. identify the center of the circle. Now, since it's a flower, if your center is not exactly at the center, don't worry about it too much. Then draw two lines. If you're not sure about where 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock is, just literally draw a line at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 and 3, and then divide this into 3 equal parts, more or less equal. So you get 8 o'clock and you get 4 o'clock. And similarly, you'll get 11 and 1. So you make these lines go halfway up towards 11 and 1. Now don't join any of the petal lines in the center. Don't join them there. So now that you know where you have to draw them from a little distance away, you can make the petals. And just draw a wobbly line around. If your line doesn't wobble, that's okay too. Back petals 1 and back petals 2. So the circle gives you at least a good starting point to proportion your flowers better. Okay, so small instruction again, those of you who are in the habit of holding your head in your left hand or right hand, or holding any other body part, I'm going to request you to keep your left hand on your book or paper. That way your hand is a lot more comfortable drawing. You don't get lines with a shiver, and also your posture is a lot better, so you don't get backaches. Okay, now at this point we can erase the pencil guidelines. I have conveniently lost my eraser.
Aditi, maybe this is waterproof ink, right? So everyone knows that, right?
Yes, no, that's a good point. This is waterproof ink. I hope so. Now we'll know. But that's a good point. Okay, I don't know how I've done this, but I guess I'm gonna have to paint without an eraser. Let's see how that goes. Well, yeah, I found a confiscated eraser. This is something that I had confiscated from one of the kids' classes. I mean, I had a jar full of erasers because that was the only way I could keep them from bringing erasers and using erasers in class.
Aditi,
Yeah.
maybe just, show everyone a micron pen, because I think a micron pen is not familiar to everybody.
That's, yeah. Oh, yes, maybe I could do that. Yeah. So this pen was in the list that I had given as an option. And these are drawing pens, really good for when you want to do an ink and watercolor combination, because these are called archival inks. They last for a long time as well, and they're pretty dark as well. Plus, most important, they're waterproof. So if I were to, let's see if this works better or differently. I have a feeling that my ink pen is going to bleed a little bit. Though it is not I don't think it is waterproof ink, but it is used for drawing and sketching. So watercolor is often used in it. All right, now I have 3 flowers, so I can give you a proper demo of how this painting is done. So pansies have a whole range of colors, and to start with, I'm going to request you to use colors which are uh, pretty close to each other. So we will make a pansy in red. We'll use an orange, red, and burnt umber combination. That's orange is here, red is here, this is scarlet, and you have a burnt umber. So when you're using watercolor, a few tips again. Avoid keeping your brushes in water like this when you're not using them, because that destroys their tips. These are very sensitive. So wash the brush and keep it in a container upright so it dries, and also keep a rag handy so that you can wipe your brushes and even keep them like this on the rag. When you're using the brush as well, avoid plunging the brush into the cake and really trying to dig it like a mine. Roll the brush in the cake, and you can use the lid of the box to test the colors, consistency, the shade. So those of you who have made the drawing in pencil, you can just darken the lines in pencil itself. You don't have to make it in ink. The only reason I made it in ink is because sometimes pencil is not clearly visible, so you don't see the lines well. So I am helping myself to a little bit of all of these shades. And you can hydrate these shades using even a spray bottle so that the tops of the cakes become accessible, available, activated for our illustration. We might use a little bit of crimson as well to darken the scarlet. All right, now let me show you how the painting will work. This painting involves a little bit of blending of color, and for that blending you need a medium sized brush because this is not a very large area. And I'm going to first take a little bit of orange, very little bit of orange in the tip of the brush. Okay, I just want everyone to observe this. Don't paint with me, you can paint after me. So I'm making these brush strokes coming outward and down, a little away from the center, and I'm pulling the paint down towards the bottom. There I'm going to now use scarlet and merge it in strokes which are perpendicular to that edge, gently pulling the color further down. And I'll keep doing this, increasing the intensity of my color and the depth, and keep doing this while the paint is still wet, so I can make layers and layers of color and blend them in just one layer itself. Now if we were doing this exercise in contrasting colors, you'll have to be a little comfortable with the consistency of paint and the blending technique so that your colors don't become muddy. But orange and scarlet are a nice combination and they won't really get muddy. Okay, so let's try this a second and third time. I'm using the same colors for the I almost call them wings. They look like wings, these petals.
What if you're using color pencils?
The same process, you just have to make one layer of a light color and extend that a little beyond where you need it, and then come in with a deeper color so that you overlap. And then as you move further, you overlap with just a darker shade of the same color. It's the same method. So wherever you need color blending, usually it's two colors that come and sit one on top of the other, and those two pigments merge to create the illusion of a third color. Now I have got a little bit of a patchy result on the right petal, but I'm not too worried, because if I do anything right now to merge this, it is just going to become very muddy. If you want to make any adjustments to your watercolor, you can wait for everything to dry and come back in with a second coat where you can repeat this exact same thing and change the color of the petal, also change the blending. But don't be tempted to fiddle with it while it's wet, because the paper is very vulnerable. The more you fiddle with paint as wet paint, it will start complaining.
Aditi ma'am, if it's possible, can you show one with the color pencil as well?
Yeah, of course. Let me do that. So with color pencils, it's a lot easier, because then you can choose colors that can have more contrast. So in this case, I will use a yellow in the center. So this method of coloring, making moving back and forth, works very well for color pencils, crayons, pastels. For those of you who are comfortable with this movement, when you start making watercolor paintings, I'm afraid this is the exact movement you will employ to apply color on paper as well. So we need to move from this embedding of pigment on paper to just staining the paper with watercolor. You just need to touch watercolor to paper and it works. Alright, so I have extended my yellow a little beyond the point that I needed, and then I'm merging this with a little bit of a cool purple shade, but I'm not putting too much pressure here. And I will shade it in the same direction. I'm not going to shade it round like that. There is a very subtle line texture that extends from the center outward towards the petal, towards the edge of the petal. So it's good to shade in that direction. Now this is something that's really tricky. A lot of times you don't see the direction, but in many cases you will notice that there are certain lines that indicate in which direction there is some flow. And now on top of that, I'm using a slightly deeper color now to change the color of the pencils just a little short of the edge. So one of the best tricks about any kind of coloring is to not rely on just one shade. So if there's a purple prescribed, you will go into your watercolor kit or your color pencil kit and say, okay, what purple do I have? And then you will just use that purple and create whatever shade it makes. And then when you look at your reference image, that purple is slightly redder or bluer or whatever. So the point of getting 12 colors or 24 colors or 18 colors is to find that kind of shade difference and overlap so that you can create the right shade using multiple colors together. Okay, so while the watercolor is drying, I'm going to show you how we proceed to make some dark patches in the center of the pansy. So many flowers have got some kind of dark patch that comes very close to like a circular form in the center. So again, you can use a pencil to make a small circle around the center with dots so that you don't accidentally enter into that space. And then you can, using the dark pencil, make some lines to give you a structure. You don't need to make the outline of that structure in a line that goes across that outline, but you can use that use these vertical lines to make what might be termed as fences to demarcate that space. And then you can start coloring that. And you can go over this with a darker pencil like black. Once you're sure exactly where the color should go. Okay, now if the watercolor has dried completely, we are going to make the petals in the back. And these petals will be made using a combination of scarlet and burnt umber. So we'll create a slightly deeper shade of scarlet using burnt umber. Whenever you need to darken a color, you don't really go for black to darken. You should first look at deeper shades in the same region or family. So in this case now, I'm using that deep shade to start from the middle of the petal. And then merge that with a purer red. So here I'm going to merge it with scarlet. Those of you who are a little unsure about your merging, see if you have too much paint in your brush. That I have found is often the problem, that we never know what is enough paint, and we'll end up filling the brush up with so much color that then it just goes and spills right into that wet paint, creating quite a puddle. So one way to know whether you are overloading your brush is if you can sense the saturation in the brush. So I'm just going to demonstrate here. If your brush is looking a little bulbous from the tip, there is a good chance that you have overloaded your brush. So you should feel that the brush is wet enough, but the tip of the brush should look intact. It should not look like it is ready and willing to spill paint on the paper. That means you have got the right amount of paint. But of course, it'll take a few tries for you to get comfortable with that and to understand that. Now, while the petal in the back is drying, I want to show you a technique of blending, but using wet color on dried up paint altogether. So we want to create a fuzzy effect of these black pigments in the center of the flower. So we take a slightly drier color. I'm just taking this little bit of burnt umber here. It's fairly dry. There's not too much water in this color. And I will make the shape of the dark patch over here in that color, just using very light brush strokes. So that there's an inverted negative V shape inside, right in the middle of this dark patch. I'm just using random references for this, but I'll share some pictures of pansies later if you want to try this again. So in a few strokes, I have created the base on which I want my dark patch to come. So while this is still wet, I can insert a dark pigment, just black, and allow it to spread. And if it is dried already, I can just encourage this paint to spread. So I will not paint entirely on that brown patch. I will make a few short lines. Okay, I'll just leave you for a minute while you try this.
How did it go?
All right. Any questions? Let's just pop into the chat a little bit.
Have you used black?
Yes, on top.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to do this again on the petals on the side as well. So maybe you can see there. Again, I'm using a slightly drier paint. And on the sides, again, the shape can be like a little spiky little petal shape. And before it completely dries, I will add a little bit of black towards the center and hope that that spreads. So the trick lies in just making very gentle strokes. And once you've made that stroke, don't second guess yourself. Just let it be. Let it do its thing. Then the last bit that we do on the flower is to draw some veins. Those look very pretty too. Now this is something you can draw even in color pencil if you want. On the petals in the back, you can create some wobbly lines from the center going outward in that same dark color. I think I'll add a little bit of black so it's at least visible. And this paint should not be too wet, otherwise all your lines can become rather bold, and you don't want them to be too bold. So they are drawn such that they look like they're emerging from the center outward. How's everyone doing? Everyone keeping up?
Great, ma'am.
Okay, good. Now, in order to add a little more drama, you can use the same deep color, maybe even a cobalt blue, to add some shadows. I often make the shadows in cobalt blue because that tends to cast a very nice shade on many in many places where you need it. So a little bit on the bottom petal like that. It's very subtle. It's just there to create the illusion of an overlap. And then a little bit behind this petal, but I press the brush so that I get a nice shape out of my brush like this. So that gives some additional drama. Now, if your colors are too light, you need more pigment. If they are too dark, you need to reduce how much pigment you keep in your brush. If you feel that your colors are looking dull, it probably means that you're overworking the paint. So if you are painting like this, which very often we do, that is constantly disturbing the pigment as they settle on paper, so it starts looking very muddy. So just to go over the process, look at just applying in such a way that you're introducing paint on the paper. They both love each other and they are going to sit with each other. So you don't really have to encourage that relationship. So you just attach this, the color will start being absorbed, move forward, keep moving forward so that you spread the paint or just stain the paper in stages. All right, now if you're comfortable with these two, let us make a rough composition which we can translate on the right. So here we will make a square. Now again, a square doesn't really mean you have to make a square that is exactly a square. Just measure roughly using your pencil or even your fingers how much what lines you should draw horizontally and vertically. Now in that, in about 1/3 of the space, or leaving, no, not 1/3, let's say half, you will leave a quarter of the square blank from the top and quarter of the square blank from the bottom, and within that you will draw your letter. So as compared to the shape of the square, the letter is not really too big. But that's because we have to make an outline.
What happens to that?
Sorry?
There was one more petal on the left.
It's painted the same way. Yeah, so just to save time, I thought I'll just move on to the composition now. So you can make your letter in the center and then distribute the flowers in such a way that none of them come one on top of the other or next to each other in a straight line. So I would probably make a flower over here, make a circle here, make a flower over here, and then make one that's like this and in the back of the letter. So none of the flowers are centers are one on top or next to each other. Let's see what we can do with the other letters. You can do the exact same format. For the B, we can have a big flower over here because there'll be some negative space. Then we can have one here, and there are going to be leaves, so we can make some leaves come out like this and fill up that space. Plus, you do not have to fill up any space at all. You just have to make sure that the blank spaces are not looking too blank. We will fill them up. So this is how you try out compositions. If I were to try out a couple more, which is always a good idea, this is how it would look. So I have my letter A. I'm not going to bother making a double line around it and making a block letter. But what if if I make a flower right at the apex and at the bottoms? How does that look? Since I have worked in graphic design, I work with this composition, but by all means, try out your own compositions. Don't take my word for it. So this is an easy way of just visualizing a composition, and I encourage you to do this exercise before you start any project. In fact, do this whole exercise. Try the bits and pieces of your project fully, test them out, and then you can make the project very easily. So now we can visualize how it's going to look. Let's make the final design. Here again, if you do not feel confident making a very straight line, or whether your line itself is straight and parallel and perpendicular to the paper, by all means make the line wobble. So you can make a shape like that and make an amorphous outline. But if you want to draw straight lines, here's the trick. Hold your pencil far enough, and to make horizontal lines, hold the pencil vertical, and to make vertical lines, hold the pencil horizontal. If you are making a line like this, you are obstructing your own vision, so you will never see where the line has to go, and very often your line will go up. When you're drawing this line coming down, very often, because right-handed people will draw the line coming to the right, and left-handed people in all likelihood will draw a line coming towards the left, because you can't see where the line has to go. The moment you change the position of the pencil in your hand, you are able to see where the line should go, and you are then able to move the line exactly in that direction. Okay, here is... Oh, by the way, my ink did not smudge, so I must have put waterproof ink. So waterproof ink, I read a question in the chat. This is drawing ink that is meant for sketching, and I am going to show you a few of my sketchbooks afterwards. They're designed to dry up and become water resistant the moment they dry. That way, you can carry a pen like this around with you when you're traveling. Make your travel sketches in pen and quickly illustrate them, paint them. You don't have to worry about drawing in pencil and then ink them, then erase the pencil. That damages the surface of the paper, and then paint it. So erasers and pencils often are used for more formal projects. Okay, now before you draw the outline of the letter, let us put the circle of the flowers and decide whether the flowers should come above the letter in some places, maybe some part of the petals, or it's the other way around. So I think I would like my flower on the right hand side to come on top of the letter. And I'm going to tilt its head a little bit. So instead of drawing it straight like that, I'm just going to tilt the petal shapes. Then I will draw my letter form. And then the rest of the flowers. So in any case, when we are drawing this in rough, you can draw everything transparent. So you can see all the positions, the various elements, how they are sitting, and you can draw overlapping parts easily as well. I am expanding my flowers a little beyond the square also. Now we've not drawn any leaves, and to create some break, we can make a leaf of the pansy. So these flowers have got fairly simple leaves. Although the leaves are on a stalk that's below. So if I were to draw leaves, I would make my stalk somewhere here, and then on that I will make a leaf like just a regular leaf, the wobbly line. And not a very sharp tip at the end. But now in this composition, we don't have to stick with the stalk and the leaves, but the leaves should make sense. So you can throw some leaves as if you are creating a floral arrangement, a display. And maybe over here at the bottom as well. They don't need to be connected to the flower. They don't need to be connected to a stalk either. They just need to look pretty over here. I do have some blank spaces here. I'm not going to do anything right now. I'll let them be, and I'll come back and put some fillers afterwards. So don't be in a rush to make this design too bulky. And now I will ink my picture, and those of you who are still working with pencil can erase the lines that you don't need. Like for example, in my case, I do not need the lines that are going through the letter, and I don't need the skeletal form of the letter also, by the way. So this time now I'm only going to ink the block part of the letter and ignore the inside letter. I think I'll move my flower a little to the left because the center is so delightful. I don't want to miss. You can use the same process to paint things like oranges, lemons, any kind of colorful element is fine. So the history of drop caps is that these letters were used as a decorative element in books at the time when we didn't have too many pictures. So when books were printed, there were few limitations on how what all could be included in the books. For some reason, they made these printed books, or not even printed, handwritten manuscripts also very elaborate. And in that, they used to employ this technique of creating a drop cap, which used to be the start of a sentence or a paragraph, and the rest of the letters would follow right from the top end of the drop cap, and the sentence would continue. You must have seen these in storybooks. The idea of the word drop cap is that the baseline, that is the line on which the words would sit otherwise, for the capital of that particular word, which is the start of that sentence, that baseline is shifted several baselines below. That is the dropped part of it. And the fact that we are making a capital letter is fairly obvious. Okay, now I'm going to make the square border around. I'm making it slightly shorter because I want my letters to stick out of the border a little bit. So in some places that border will not even be visible. I've blocked the border in. Now I'm going to have to look for my eraser. The reason my eraser is not around usually is because I tend to challenge myself to not need an eraser. So from right when I start the illustration, I practice visualizing what I'm going to draw, and then starting from that element, I will draw everything else. So even the overlaps are considered. This will happen very easily to all of you also the moment you start being in control of your artwork. It's a little difficult when somebody else is giving you instructions because then you don't know what they have in mind. So today, if you are not able to visualize it, it's just because you're not in control of the outcome yet. Okay, so this is it. That's how we.
Aditi, do we need to keep the square?
You don't need to really, but if you do, then we can give this square a nice backdrop also.
Because my leaves have extended the square.
What has
Leaves. The leaves have extended the square.
No, keep the square inside. The leaves can always go out.
Okay.
Now, since I have this blank space here, I am going to do this crazy thing where I'm going to bring a little flower from the bottom, like the inside of the design itself. And I'm matching this to the stalk to the line or the angle of the A. Maybe a leaf there to break that up a little bit. Okay, now we can just paint this. So barring the leaves, would everyone say you're comfortable now painting everything in this? Don't paint the letter, just paint everything around it. Keep the letter blank. Okay, let's try this. Now this time round you can choose whatever colors you want. There are pansies of all colors possible. I'm going to use the same colors as before, but this time I'm adding a little gamboge to the mix. That's the warm yellow color. And one petal at a time, that's the trick. Don't try to paint too many. This petal, I put too much water, so unfortunately I'm going to have to do that again. So you have to change the size of the brush according to the space you have. If you have a tiny space, use a tiny brush. Eventually you'll say, oh, this is so instinctive, why did I have to give you this instruction? But believe me, there are some people who are so nervous about painting that they don't even realize that they're using the wrong brush till it's too late. And for someone who's unfamiliar with the technique altogether, a complete novice, I wouldn't blame them. Now, what I have shared today is just like one quick way of painting, but this is not the only way of painting flowers. Of course, there are many ways, many techniques. There's a wet on wet technique also, which eventually you will become comfortable in painting. But this way is a little more controlled. Blending is a very fine exercise to draw flowers with. Most flowers have multiple colors, so a similar technique can be used for different kinds of flowers. Alright, I'm going to change the shades a little bit because I think pansies look pretty nice in different shades. So I'm trying this one technique, not same technique, but I'm being a little bold here. I'm going to use a blue. So this is lemon yellow, and then I will extend the lemon yellow a little beyond with just plain water. Pull the water towards the bottom, and at this point I will insert cobalt blue into that wet space. I'm using a small brush here so that I can control how much water and how much paint mixes. So this is the same technique, but the middle layer was extended using clean water. I'll do this again on the sides. First layer is lemon yellow. Second layer is just water where I pull the lemon yellow a little further down. Then with a very tiny brush, I'm inserting cobalt blue into that water. It won't go towards the lemon yellow in the center because that water is already drying close to that area. And I can get this effect. I don't know many flowers that have so many color combinations. as pansies do. I've always enjoyed painting pansies. And if you do a Google search of the flower, you'll just come across so many varieties. All right, now for the large petals, here's one trick. Again, instead of the yellow, I'm just using water. This is like blending into zero. And the water will automatically make the paint over there much lighter. And to this cobalt blue, just for a change of color, I'm adding ultramarine blue towards dark side. Okay, so we're at 10:41 now. I would like to open up for questions while we are painting. So if there are any questions anyone has, you can ask me or you can put them on chat and I can keep my chat on also. Susan's also there to help us out.
Hi, Aditi.
Hi.
What do we do for the center of the flower? We just leave it like that right now?
You can, yeah, you can leave it blank. There's a very small triangular little mark there,
Yeah.
which you can make with a deep shade of brown like that. So it's right in the center over here
Uh-huh.
in the shape of a triangle, again with an open center. But even if you don't make it, it's fine because it doesn't really make a difference to the flower too much. But if it becomes too dark, then it starts making the flower look a little less pretty.
Aditi, can you just do one flower and show us the center?
Yeah,
One of the bigger ones.
I have made it over here. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll darken it a little bit and I'll show you. By the time you finish painting everything, that center will not really matter. It looks better, I feel it looks better without painting in the center. But if you feel that your flowers are going to protest, then take a light burnt umber color and make like a teepee light shape on the top. That should be enough. You don't need anything more than that. The shape inside originally, it's actually like an A, by the way. So it's like that with a very subtle coloring towards the bottom like this. So this becomes the petal, this becomes the petal, and this is the bottom petal. This would be the inside of the flower.
Can I ask, ma'am?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so you had mentioned in the beginning that if you make some mistake, how to rectify it after it dries up.
Yes. Have you made a mistake?
I think my flower central is not showing the shading.
Okay.
The first flower.
Okay, can I see it? Can
Yeah,
you hold
ma'am.
it up to the screen? I'm trying to find who it is. Huh? This is Chandra? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, let me just see it and I will. Yeah, okay. No, I think it's doing fine. Do you think you want
It's
to make it darker or do you feel that the blending is not accurate?
not, I feel one of the petal, the center part, that orange is not showing now.
Visible. Okay. Never mind, because in the center we have to make it dark afterwards.
Oh,
Right. So you can take a call whether or not you want to do the whole thing over, or you'd rather just let that go and make that dark like this. So then it might not even be visible.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But just to answer your question, I'm going to darken this bottom petal over here to show you how the same thing can be done. So at least that'll help you with what I was trying to say earlier. So I'm using the exact same colors and I will do the exact same process. But this time round, I will have an under layer of these shades. So I've put in some lemon yellow. Now I will put some water. I'm washing the brush the second time around because it keeps picking the earlier water. Then I'll make sure that there is enough water towards the bottom edge before I add a second color. So I'm flowing some water in here. More than I wanted, but that's okay. Now I can also hold the book a little upright like this so that I ensure that the paint does not go too far into to the top. And just add little beads of color. So watercolor is meant for layering. And if you find that you have the wrong shade or the wrong consistency of paint or it's become patchy, you can keep layering and layering and layering as much as you want till the till that color is fully saturated. See, it's the exact
Yeah,
same thing, but when it dries, this petal will look much brighter than its
the others.
companions.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So this common misconception that watercolor is really hard, because if you make a mistake, then you can't undo it and all, is just a misunderstanding of how watercolor works. Watercolors are meant to flow. They are not meant to sit in one place like other medium is. Color pencils, they don't flow. For that matter, even other liquid paints like acrylics and oils, they don't really flow. So I often explain this as watercolors being the toddlers of the uh, painting fraternity, and they enjoy mixing with each other. It's like a kindergarten class. Have you seen a kindergarten class when they are let out? They will run around like wild beasts towards whichever direction that they can run, and that's beautiful to watch. So you don't want them to be straight jacked and walk in a straight line like adults do. The same way with watercolors, you can get them to do what you would like them to do without having to force them to conform to only the one technique that you might be comfortable with. Okay, so my suggestion beyond this point is to make the backdrop a certain color and use one of these colors itself, or make it a black or a brown or something. My go-to is often cerulean blue. That is the light blue shade over here. And in places where you feel that there are blanks, you can add just a few circles like these and paint around these circles. These circles act like maybe dust spots or sparkles, like you would see in photographs, and they fill up spaces which might otherwise look like they're empty.
Hi, Aditi. This is Radhika. I have one question. Do we color the leaves as well?
Yes, yes, you can color the leaves. The leaf
Okay,
coloring is fairly easy. I will show you one.
sure. Thank you.
So use a mix of sap green and yellow ochre. That's this color here. Sap green in itself, used directly, is too vibrant. We don't really need that kind of vibrant green along with our flowers. So we need a slightly muted shade. That way the flowers will remain prominent. So here's how you do it. You can just go ahead and put one layer of color flat on the leaves. And when you're painting this also, you can press the brush a little bit so that it spreads faster. And when you come towards the edges, you can use the tip of the brush to direct that. Once this dries up, or even before it dries, if you're comfortable with it, you can drop in a few dark shades. And the dark shade is made using cobalt blue, again, not black. And you can drop in the shade right behind the flower, maybe with just the tip of your brush or just behind the letters, something like that. And once it dries, you can just make a little swish along the center. So you get this dramatic three-dimensional effect.
Yep, yep. It's beautiful.
Great. And keep the letter blank. Do not be tempted to paint the letter. I would suggest finish all the painting, and if you feel that the blank letter is just not working for you and it's giving you sleepless nights, then tomorrow paint it. Okay, so at some point I will be completing this and I will share it with all of you, and your friends will also share it with you, whoever you've come with. And I must thank all of you before you all decide to run out, because it's 11 o'clock, that you decided to join. And I love to have more and more people in the art class. So the whole idea of this is to introduce all of you to what the art class is all about. And as much as I have started the class more for a small group of people, quite by accident during the pandemic and the lockdown, it has been told to me that the class has been really beneficial to a lot of students. So I would like to invite a few students to talk about their experience of the class as well. Alka, did I see your hand go up?
That was for benefit. When you said it benefited, that's why it went up. But okay, I'll go first. So it has really, really helped me. I mean, I used to dabble in paints and I come from a family where everyone needs paints, but I never really took it very seriously till the lockdown and Aditi's classes. And it was like just such a, at that time, it was like such a bright spot in the day that 5 o'clock, okay, we're going to sit with Aditi and we're going to paint something. And we used to do marvelous stuff. And she made it so approachable and so easy to do. Like, I at no point, like she says, people get intimidated by watercolors, and don't be fooled. It's not easy, but it's great fun. And it is very, very doable. And I have to say that it's thanks to her and to her encouragement and to all these classes. I actually went ahead and I published a recipe book with watercolor instructions, completely done in watercolors. And I also did a calendar this year, which I would not in my wildest dreams have imagined I would ever do one day. So yeah, so if I can do that, then anybody can do watercolors. And you can learn with Aditi 100%.
Thank you. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I'd like to say a few words.
Yes.
So I'm Genevieve.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm Janita's guest. for today.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Hi,
Thank
Janvi.
you so much. Such a wonderful workshop. And the best part is it's so fast. It was
Yeah.
amazing. I can't even believe that I actually did this G and, with the three pansies and actually did some painting very quickly. Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Good. I'm very
Great.
happy. Thank you. Thank you. Good.
Hi, Aditi. I am Alka Deshpande's friend. And
Huh?
as a third person, I can tell you that it has been absolute joy holding Alka Chechi's book. It's a work of art, and I was so impressed by it. And I remember how it was in COVID. I'm her neighbor too, and it kept all of us going. I mean, at the end of the day, she used to share what she's made, the birds, the fruits, each and everything she used to share with us. And just looking at her work under your guidance, it kept us going through COVID, so I'd like to thank you for that. And thank you, Alka Chechi, for getting me here today. I also did something. I hope it's okay, but I'll finish this. So as a third person, her work is really nice. The calendar, I have the calendar, I have the book, and it's on my coffee table. More than a recipe book, it's a work of art, is what I'll say again. It's really nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Surbi. Okay.
Hi, can I go
Survi.
ahead?
Yeah, Srimati?
I'm Srimanti. I am Ashwita's friend.
Yes.
I'm actually her daughter-in-law, and we both enjoy painting. It's my first class together. I believe she's already attended some classes with you. I'm joining in from Bangalore, and in this hustle and bustle of daily life, going to work, coming back, I don't really get much time to paint. But I loved it. It was really fun. I've been trying to pick up my paintbrush since the past 4 months now, but today was the day when it had to happen. So thank you so much, and keep conducting amazing classes like this.
Thank you. Thank you, Srimanti. This is great feedback. Alka, were you trying to say something? This is another Alka. Yes. I think you're on mute, Alka. Yes. Is it? No, your mute is still not. No?
Me?
Something's
No,
not.
no, it was not me.
No, something's not.
My apologies.
Yes.
I'm
Okay. Okay.
too familiar with Zoom. I was invited by Ritika,
Okay.
and painting is something that I've always wanted to do, but have never had the courage. I really enjoyed myself today. Thank you so much.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I look forward to learning more.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Alka. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ritika. Thank you, Aditi.
Thank you. Thanks, Ritika.
Hi.
Hi. Yes. Elaine's friends?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Hi,
Elaine's
I'm
brunch
Neha here.
party. Yes.
Yeah, we were invited by Elaine to join in, and it's been such a lovely time. I don't know how the time flew by. And
Yeah.
for years, I've done like a little bit of drawing and painting. It's just nice. It's so de-stressing, actually.
It is.
You know?
It is, yeah, it is wonderful. So that's the thing. It's not, there are so many things I notice about the time that I spend with painting. It's not, you don't really you're not looking for an escape really. This is more invigorating. So the more we do it, the more,
Yeah.
uh, the joy is feeding you. So it's not like something that you want to forget everything with, but it just helps detangle your mind. It makes you relaxed. You are enjoying it. You create something at the end of it. So without intending to, it turns out to be quite therapeutic. I'm not very fond of the
Yeah,
word.
yeah. I mean, it's that's just one of the side effects, but actually, it's so joyful. Like just seeing the colors come across, the art and the creativity. It's
Yeah,
any creative art. Like it's makes you feel so alive.
absolutely.
And of course, I love flowers anyway. I love nature, so this was nice. Just painting flowers.
Yeah,
This is and
it's a great
easier too.
topic.
Easier.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't draw anything better, but flowers are at least a little easier for me.
It's a great place to start with. I think
Yeah.
most girls start with flowers and boys start with cars. That's what I see in my
Oh.
kids' classes.
Or is
It's
it?
not. The stereotype just comes in through the environment. I've seen very few switches in the genders, and they
Okay.
start as young as 5 and 6. It's just something that they learn from their environment. But before we disperse, I'd just like to share one or two things with you. Elaine had requested to speak about the travel illustration that we're going to do next month. So I'm going to show you just a few flip throughs of some travel journals that we have done. Of course, if anyone has to leave, feel free to just drop out. I will share the recording so you can watch the recording later to see the flip throughs. But just another 15 minutes. So I do this travel retreat for my students once or twice a year. And the whole travel retreat idea came about because, like you said, you don't realize when time flies. And you're just sitting and you're saying, okay, I just came and sat and I'm having so much fun. And now I have to go. I don't want to go. So there was a bunch of students who said, can't we just do this the whole so I said, all right, let's just go somewhere and sequester ourselves in a manner and do this. So that's how the first travel retreat came about. And we all went to Goa, 6, 7 of us. And we had a jolly good time. So I'm going to share a few pictures of similar such retreats. Literally, it was airport to airport, only sketching. And this is like the next level when you get addicted. This is what happens. So this is our very first. Oh, I hope I'm not stuck. Can you see? No, I can't see myself now. 1 minute. Okay. Yeah, so this was how the first retreat began. We all met at Dario's in Korega Park, where I gave them the idea of what the retreat would be like. And this is how it started. We made postcards, just some tile patterns, and it was kept relatively easy because everyone was new. This was my first retreat as well. People waiting at the airport, within the flight also. So everyone, 6 mad people were sitting in flight, drawing the inside of a plane. This was just outside beyond the pond where we were staying. So often it happens that you would want to do this. Everyone has this idea, very romantic idea that I would carry a sketchbook and I'm going to sketch and write and all that. And you come back with the sketchbook empty, completely disappointed, overwhelmed. And what I realized was I have gone through the same thing because we don't know where to start. We don't know what topics to choose, how to create a composition, what to illustrate, what to write. We don't have that experience. So trying to do that for the first time is near impossible. So I started my own travel journals, and this was this is the first one. Yeah, this is the second one. And I answered those questions for myself. This was the very first book. This was my very first travel illustration. As you can see, my nervous mind made me leave 3, 4 pages in the beginning because I did not want the book to start with an ugly picture. And this was my very first illustration from the terrace of my friend's house in Hyderabad. And I said, okay, whatever it is, I'm never going to know what I can do unless I do something that is terrible. And I say, okay, now instead of this, I'm going to draw that or whatever. The point is that you have to start and don't judge. And then the next day, I'm not very happy with what turned out. Then it started becoming a little more crystallized. I focused on the things that I want to bring out in what I was drawing. So from here, I have now come to this in 14 years, I think, where I'm very comfortable taking my sketchbook and illustrating people, planes, maps. And all this began because of that one thing. I just wanted to bring back memories of my trip the way I saw them. So every time I see the illustration, I'm reminded of everything. Where I was sitting, who was with me. The experience becomes so much more richer. So from the first illustration of that building, now my buildings have come to this. But it's taken a while. So the last one that I took my students to, it's still in progress. Even most of the students have not seen it. This is the Jaipur art retreat. We went to Jaipur last November and we will be doing another Jaipur retreat this November as well. So I still have to write a lot in this journal. I've just not had the time, but I have started finishing some illustrations here and there. This was a postcard made by a student who gifted it to me there. This was a doorway we saw. Of course, I've not painted it on the trip. I came back and spent maybe a day and a half painting it. This was drawn on location. And much of this is demonstrated in that place. This is at Khanum where we painted our own plates. This was how the process was. So even these illustrations were made while we were being shown around in that in the store. And of course, I scare everyone by telling them that they have to finish a 50-page journal in 6 days. If that's what I tell them to start with, then hopefully they will finish half of it. So we budget to about 8 or 10 pages every day. We're frantically trying to document something or the other. But it works pretty well like that. All right, so I have a huge stack of journals, and there will be a time when I'll go through all of them one by one, but maybe not today. And we are going to do this same module next month. So, in order to prepare everyone for traveling or travel journaling on your own, it's not as if you need to do this only with me, but you need to, it's good to know what to do. So, we do this travel module once in a while where we will take one city or one country and I will show you how you can illustrate that in just like one sheet, like a montage, where you will draw maybe some architecture, some food, uh, any kind of local stuff, and that will help you to then, when you are traveling, be able to select your own topics and make stuff by yourself. So that's the intention of the travel module, which we are starting next month from April onwards. Which will the first class will be on Tuesday itself. That's on the 1st of April. Okay, so that's it from me.
So I just wanted to show you what I did today.
Okay, great. Let's see. Oh wow, very nice.
Yeah, mine is not complete, but yeah.
Good fun.
Very nice. Oh, very nice. Lovely. That black is going to look very dramatic.
Yeah, I still have to finish a little bit.
Superb.
I just want to say one thing about class in general, and I've been with Aditi from the pandemic 2020. Yeah, it's been 5 years. What I like about coming to class is not just making art. I mean, making art we all will do. That is the primary intent. But also we have a big community here, a huge community. And as you join in, you'll come across all sorts of people, across all age groups and a lot of careers who have all come to make art. And that's what I love about the rural factory community. It's like the friends I've made that I have not met, the many friends I have not met to this day, but are such good friends that I've made, and the community is so encouraging. That is an experience. So it's not just art. I can make art by just sitting with videos and I do that. But what's more more is that you do it with others. So I really think that's become now as important to me as the art I make. The community I am with, the community I am making art with. So that's what I love about weekly classes. And there are so many batches you can pick from, which batch you want to go to, what suits you. Like, I'm a mother of 3 kids. You can imagine finding time is not easy, not the slightest bit, but it resets me in this mode of parenting that gets me riled up by the end of the day. It really does reset me, and I'm able to get back to next day and the day after that. So that's where, I mean, for me, art has done a lot to my personality, to who I am, who I'm becoming for others. So that matters to me. So I think that's what I've got out of art class and weekly. And it's flexible. What I love is it's flexible. You don't have to say, okay, today, now I can't do this right now, I don't have the time for it. That's okay. Take it easy. Come join a class that you enjoy or you want to do right now. And I like it that Aditi talks about the topics. Every month we have a different topic. It's so nice because certain months you really resonate with the topic. You want to do it. Some months you may not want to. It's okay. It's fine if you didn't want to. So that's what I like. So Aditi, please do keep sharing your monthly, what you're going to do every month,
Nice.
It allows people to come in and go as they want.
Yeah, I keep saying this all the time that the best, the biggest advantage of being adults is that we are not kids. So, which means that we have responsibilities, which if someone is just empathetic about, then you can carry on doing both. Everyone is busy, everyone has so many things that you have to do every day. So the classes are meant to be something that you look forward to, not something that pressures you to attend. So yeah, you should feel free to come in and out for the joy of it, not because you've paid the fees and now you have to attend every class. Yes, okay, let's see. Zai's nice. Oh, lovely.
Lovely.
So cute. That is
Yeah.
so cute. Very nice. Let's see Elaine's. Oh, very nice, Elaine.
Getting there.
Good, good.
That's,
Oh,
yeah.
wonderful. Very cute.
This is
Super.
mine.
Ooh, yeah.
Let's see Janita's.
Janita, lovely.
I had a
Very
question
nice.
for the
Yes.
border and the alphabet. Anything to keep in mind
Yeah,
when choosing the color?
Yeah, I saw your question. So what did you mean? Color concepts as in?
Like the lighter shade if you're like the alphabet, or darker shade, and for the border. Is there anything to keep in mind?
No, so I would suggest that you should decide on what part of the illustration you want to need to stand out. So if you want the letter to stand out, then you color the letter, or you color the stuff around it deeper, so then the letter can stand out. If you want the background to stand out, then you make the background deeper and the colors of the flowers slightly lighter. So it's when I say stand out, it is the one that creates more emphasis. But that does not mean that it takes away the emphasis or the importance of the other elements. They just work together in one being more supportive or solid than the other. So in my case, I have a blue flower against a blue backdrop. That's total no-no because my backdrop or my flower is going to be washed out. But there are ways I can use a texture to make the petals stand out or something like that. And even a light on light can be an effect that is desirable. So I suggest often that make a few and identify the ones you will know. It's like I hate that this is something that you have to rely on feeling. You will feel attracted towards a certain set of combination of colors, and you don't have to give an explanation for that. You just bank it. You take a picture and you say, okay, this is what I liked. Write some notes about why, what colors you used, and proceed from there.
Yeah, I think I did everybody left their alphabet white. And I went and colored it a nice burnt umber, and I'm finding it a bit much. So the background now I need to just keep very light, right? Or the other way.
Yeah, it would help. Yeah, it would help if you've got a lot of color in, then don't put too many things, too many colors on it. Keep it light. Um, a light wash would be fine, but then again, with washes, it's always a better idea to have done the wash before.
I've yet to complete.
Okay, let's see Chandra's. Okay, nice. See, the flower is looking good. I don't think you needed to make any second layer. I think it's going to look beautiful.
Yeah, I liked it.
Great.
Thanks to Susan for introducing me to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Florals were always my weakness. And
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
used to approach her to guide me. But she has introduced me to you. I'm so happy. And I
Wonderful.
would love to come for all your classes.
Excellent. So,
Yeah.
I will ask all the friends who have brought the friends in to share the schedules. I'll be sharing the schedule again for next month, today and tomorrow, since the month is starting on Tuesday. And I think we can end class now because I have the next class coming in exactly 14 minutes. A whole bunch of kids have to clear all this up before they come and mess up. So thank you again,
Bye
everyone.
bye. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so
Bye bye,
much.
everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.